Good evening, everyone. My name is Jalicia Bin Hamid, and I'm the Wellness Program Manager of the Osher Center for Integrative Health at the University of Cincinnati. The Osher Center's mission is to improve the health of our community by transforming disease care to well care through innovative research, education, clinical practice, and community engagement focused on integrative health and wellness. This virtual lifestyle medicine and wellness series happens several times a year and is an opportunity for the community to engage with our expert Osher Center faculty on key topics of wellness. Today, we're joined by Dr. Sarah Couch. Dr. Couch is a professor and the director of the Graduate Program in Nutrition in the Department of Rehabilitation, Exercise, and Nutrition Sciences at the University of Cincinnati. She is a registered dietitian nutritionist specializing in translating evidence-based dietary recommendations in chronic disease prevention and treatment for clinical applications. Dr. Couch has worked collaboratively with teams of healthcare professionals to educate patients, students, and professionals in food literacy toward greater adherence to healthy eating patterns conducive to minimizing chronic disease risk. With over 30 years of teaching experience, she's been active in many leadership roles, including serving on the advisory panel on nutrition and hypertension, state of food and nutrition, and on the Council on Research Implementation subcommittee of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. She also served as president of the Greater Cincinnati Dietetic Association and on the board of editors of the Journal of And. We are also proud to have Dr. Couch as an Osher-affiliated faculty. I'll be monitoring the chat for any questions you'd like us to address during the Q&A portion of the program, so please feel free to put your questions directly in the chat feature or in the Q&A feature. We're honored to have Dr. Couch with us today, and with that, I'll turn it over to her.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Can everybody, Jalicia, can you see the slides okay?
I'm not seeing the slides.
You're not seeing the slides. Let's see what happened here. Okay.
I can see them now.
Okay, great. All right, very good. Well, thanks again for the introduction. I'm pleased to be here tonight. And thanks to everyone for coming to this webinar on healthy eating for the holidays. It's really hard to believe that the holidays are almost upon us. This year went by very quickly. And I was kind of, before putting together this presentation, I was starting to think about my holidays and all the pre-work that I have to get going. But, you know, when I think about the holidays, and I'm sure this is true of for many, I think about spending time celebrating with my close family and friends and enjoying the beautiful fall season. The end of the year, thinking about all that's gone on and enjoying the family stories that are told and having some laughs and celebrating some traditions, going to church to celebrate my religious holiday and generally feeling gratitude for my personal blessings. And it's really important to take time to celebrate these things. So don't forget. But with that notion, I think that with the joy and the celebration of the season, sometimes our personal health and in particular our health goals can be a secondary consideration. And this presentation is really designed to proactively consider the challenges that holidays may bring for our health and to develop a plan to meet these challenges head on. So when thinking about holiday challenges to healthy eating in particular, there are 5 major hurdles that are commonly reported and discussed in the media and the literature. And I'd like to address these with some evidence-based approaches to management and leave you with some practical skills to apply every day to ensure that you gift yourself good health and weight maintenance into the new year. And notably, I'll address this topic with particular focus on those with diabetes or pre-diabetes, which goes along with the important consideration of keeping blood sugar in check. So I think the 5 challenges listed here will resonate with most, but in particular for those people who are facing the challenge of having prediabetes or with diabetes. And these challenges can be particularly problematic when it comes to one's blood sugar control. They include eating out of your normal pattern, having an increased amount of travel and related stress, consuming alcohol, and having hidden ingredients in a lot of the traditional holiday fare that we eat, and then facing family pressures and sometimes for overindulgences. But I think in general, having a plan about what you will be eating and drinking and when at family gatherings, as well as managing the related stress, can really help to alleviate the post-holiday adverse effects on your health. So, holiday schedules, as we know, can really make meal times unpredictable, and this can lead to extended periods between meals and increased hunger. And increased hunger and cravings often lead to overindulgence when the next meal or snack is consumed. And when you have extended periods of hunger followed by overindulgence, that can cause sharp drops and spikes in blood sugar. So really, monitoring blood sugar is key to preventing what we call time out of normal range. When you're managing your blood sugar control, you really want to keep your blood sugar within the 70 to 180 milligrams per deciliter range. That's considered what's normal. And having a lot of time out of range, meaning those high blood sugar readings and the lows, really can wreak havoc on our health. And it's equally important in planning for healthy meals and small snacks throughout the day to really ensure that you have a more consistent carbohydrate dose, and spreading the carbohydrate out throughout the day and having a consistent dose will really help to keep your blood sugar in check every day. So, as I said, monitoring blood sugar is key to preventing those excess swings in blood sugars. And going long gaps without food can really cause some unfortunate symptoms related to low blood sugar. And that includes being dizzy or having the shakes or irritability and anxiety. And a blood sugar roller coaster can occur when you skip meals, causing blood sugar to dip down, and then you are hungry and overeat, and that causes a spike in blood sugar. And these frequent high blood sugars and low blood sugars over time can really lead to some complications associated with diabetes. And that can include damage to the heart and blood vessels and kidneys. And obviously, we want to protect ourselves from those complications. And recent research suggests that meal timing is particularly important to optimize blood sugar control. So thinking about when your metabolic rate is at its highest and lowest rate plays into when it's best to eat your meals, and in particular, your daily carbohydrate dose. And using devices like a continuous glucose monitor, which you see in the picture here, like the Freestyle Libre would be an example. These are devices that continually monitor the glucose in your body through an external device that attaches to your body and can give you real-time blood sugar updates. And CGMs can really help you see how your body's metabolism responds to meals and snacks throughout the day, and can help you plan meal timing to achieve the best time and range, or when your blood sugar can stay within the normal range of that 70 to 180. But in general, eating within an hour of waking when your metabolism is rising is beneficial because your body is most sensitive to insulin in the morning. So having your larger, more balanced meal earlier in the day can help lead to improved blood sugar control and help to decrease appetite. And then eating at regularly spaced intervals every 3 to 4 hours daily helps to regulate metabolism as well and manage blood sugar levels. And then trying to not eat late at night. I know sometimes that's hard over the holidays with celebrations, but this is when your metabolism is slower. So when you consume meals, and particularly carbohydrate-rich meals, that can lead to blood sugar spikes when your insulin sensitivity is low. And the effect of that is you can have high blood sugar overnight, which is not something that we want to have. We want to manage that blood sugar so it's not elevated going into the evening. So basing your meals on the My Plate, we're probably all familiar with this model, but it really helps to serve as a visual representation of what a balanced meal should look like to support your blood sugar control. And simply put, half your plate should be vegetables and fruit, and a quarter of your plate should be protein, and then a quarter grains, mostly of the complex type, like whole wheat pasta or brown rice or quinoa. And then balancing carbohydrate with protein in this meal helps to control appetite. And that'll help to stabilize your blood sugar because protein really helps to slow the absorption of carbohydrate. So that's the benefit there. And then fiber that's found in vegetables and fruits and whole grains works in that same fashion to slow blood sugar spikes. So if you're eating at home, it's a good practice to really plan your meals using this My Plate visual in your mind. And, even when you're eating out, to look for menu options that fit the My Plate model for nutrient balance. And this slide shows how the My Plate model can be used to plan your holiday plate as well. I love this because it shows a very balanced meal, quite simple, but it has all of the holiday fare in it. It has the lean turkey and whole grain stuffing with fresh cranberry sauce and sautéed green beans and a low-fat yogurt parfait for dessert. I think this looks very good, and it's a balanced meal that will help to optimize blood sugar control. And maybe to make it a little more festive, I might add a little pumpkin puree together with a low-fat vanilla yogurt for Thanksgiving. So other tips to control your portion are to control your portion to watch your calories include maybe using a smaller plate. I know I always do when I have my meals, or using a divided paper plate that's compostable. And often these divided plates have 3 dividers, so making sure you have at least 3 of the 5 food groups. If you can't get all 5 is a useful strategy. You still get the balanced meal. And then for a beverage, having water or flavored calorie-free seltzer, that'll help to fill you up so you're not as tempted to eat larger portions. So the next hurdle is traveling, and that can lead to irregular meal times, but can make it harder to make healthy food choices, especially if you're eating out. So eating while traveling and managing diabetes can be really challenging, especially when healthier options are limited while on the interstate or at the airport. And going long periods of time without eating or perhaps consuming fast food on the road can contribute to large swings in blood sugar, as you might expect. So something that I always do is bring a cooler if you're traveling in the car, which is something I will do on my way to Massachusetts to visit my family over the holidays. And I'm going to have it packed with nutrient balanced snacks such as veggies and hummus, or fruit and yogurt, and whole grain crackers and cheese. Those are all balanced protein with the carbs, and that'll help keep your blood sugar in check and also help you keep you satiated. And to get the maximum benefit from the fiber-rich foods to help suppress appetite, it's always good to make sure to consume calorie-free or low-calorie fluids with the food. Basically, that helps the fluid with the fiber helps to bulk up in the gut, and that helps to give you the satiety effect of the fiber and helps to satiate you longer between meals. So looking for more healthful food choices when traveling by car can be a challenge when it comes to maintaining your health goals. And some tips that I put here to find healthy foods while traveling include maybe using Google Maps if you use it to search for keywords like salad or organic or vegan. These will pull up different restaurants that offer these healthful options, at least vegetarian or vegan options. I usually try to avoid restaurants altogether and go to the grocery store when I'm traveling in local markets where I'm traveling to, and buy fruits or nuts and yogurt or some pre-made salads. And that way I have control of the meal that I'm eating. And then if you do like to go to restaurants, opting for fast casual restaurants where you can customize the meal, such as Chipotle or Panera or Subway. And then if you're wanting that sit-down meal, looking for ethnic restaurants like Indian or Thai or Japanese, these types of restaurants often have healthy vegetarian options for you. So traveling during the holidays can be stressful, as we probably all know, when driving to your next destination or keeping up with new schedules or trying to make it to the airport on time, which right now is very challenging, or getting through the TSA line. And this increased stress can really raise stress hormones, one being cortisol, which increases blood sugar levels, as you can see on the graphic on this slide. And it's important during these times to monitor your blood sugar, as I've been saying. So always monitor when you can, and also to stay on track with your health goals. Plan ahead where you'll stop and get your meal. So you know where you're going, plan your destination route, as well as some restaurants that offer healthful options. And that way you can select the restaurants and browse the menus online ahead of time, and can find some food choices that are healthy and carbohydrate controlled, and that will help you avoid ordering impulsively when you're tired or hungry from traveling. And then just some healthier fast food choices that are typically found close to the interstate might be, we mentioned Subway and Panera have some grain bowls or salad bowls. Chick-fil-A offers some grilled chicken sandwiches, and you can pair that with the side salad and fruit cup. Starbucks offers protein boxes or egg bites and oatmeal for some restaurant choices or some healthy choices. And even McDonald's and Wendy's, if you have to go there, they do have grilled chicken options. You can get it made with light dressing and choose water, unsweetened tea as your beverage. So there are options, but not as easy with the fast food fare. The craziness of schedules during the holidays, I love this picture, can make it difficult to stay active due to traveling in cold weather in particular. So, but what we know is that small bouts of physical activity throughout the day can really make a big difference overall in regulating your blood sugar level and managing stress. So finding simple and realistic ways to move your body during the holidays is really important to manage your blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. And studies show that the insulin sensitivity that is impacted by physical activity can persist for up to 24 hours after exercise. So it's really a good thing to do to help manage your blood sugar levels. And small bouts of exercise, such as taking even short 5 to 10 minute walks after a meal, help to shuttle glucose from the blood into your muscles and improve your insulin sensitivity and help to reduce post-meal blood sugar. So thinking about opportunities to walk a bit throughout the day, such as maybe parking further away from the store, taking the steps instead of the elevator up to your hotel room, or taking the dog for a walk. These small bursts of activity during the day can really help keep your blood sugar steady, reduce your stress, and also boost your energy level. So it's a triple win. Let's deal with alcohol consumption. Well, one thing about people with diabetes or pre-diabetes is that alcohol can really impact blood sugar, and particularly when it's consumed on an empty stomach. So low blood sugar is a major risk when alcohol is consumed on an empty stomach. And when you drink alcohol, the liver actually prioritizes breaking down the alcohol and treats it like a toxin, wants to get rid of it. So while the liver focuses on metabolizing the alcohol, it can't do its normal function of releasing stored glucose into the bloodstream efficiently. And this causes your blood sugar to drop. And some of the symptoms of low blood sugar include dizziness, shakiness, slurred speech, and confusion. And these symptoms are very similar to the symptoms of having too much to drink. And this can make it really, really hard to tell if you're experiencing the effects of alcohol or low blood sugar. So to avoid this, it's important to always eat a balanced meal or snack when drinking alcohol. And if possible, monitor your blood sugar and keep fast-acting carbohydrate handy just in case you start experiencing these symptoms. All alcoholic beverages affect blood sugar differently, depending on the sugar content. So sugary drinks like beer, sweet wine, and mixed cocktails can contain high amounts of carbohydrate that can raise your blood sugar quickly. And low sugar drinks like vodka or whiskey or gin have little or no carbohydrate, so they can contribute to that blood sugar drop, particularly if they're consumed on an empty stomach. So when drinking, it's really important to eat a balanced meal or snack to prevent that blood sugar from dropping too low. And treat alcoholic beverages like a food choice, meaning that you should plan the carbohydrate content of your drinks into your daily carbohydrate dose and adjust the carbohydrates for your meal and snacks accordingly to help to maintain your blood sugar levels. And remember, unfortunately, that in addition to carbs, calories do count when they're consumed from beverages. And these calories can add up quickly, as you see on this slide. So even with small portions, you get a lot of calories from alcoholic beverages. So watch the portion sizes and drink choices and moderate intake. And other tips include hydration before libation. So drinking extra water doesn't just prevent dehydration. It may also help you feel full, especially when we often mistake thirst for hunger. And drinking water before and after alcohol can help prevent the headache. And if you are not a plain water drinker, which I'm not, I like to put a little wedge of lemon or orange juice or some type of fruit to flavor it a little bit. I'll use a little bit of cranberry juice, actually. Oh, hidden ingredients, they're everywhere. And the reality of holiday food favorites is that many can be high in sugar and fat and salt. And these ingredients in moderation can be part of a well-rounded, healthy diet. However, when they're consumed in excess over time, that can contribute to the development of chronic disease risk factors. So consuming too much sugar consistently can keep blood sugar levels elevated, which increases the risk for developing diabetes in those with pre-diabetes. Over-consuming unhealthy fats, which we'll talk a little bit about, the different types of fat, but that are found in foods like fried foods and fatty meats. These can raise the bad or LDL cholesterol levels and clog your arteries over time, and that can contribute to heart disease. And excess salt consumption raises blood pressure, particularly in those that are sodium sensitive. And this puts a strain on the heart and the blood vessels. And when these risk factors persist over time, that can increase the risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, and other complications. So to maintain our health goals into the holidays, it's really a good strategy to be aware of foods that contain high amounts of sugar, fat, and salt. So things like sugary drinks or sweet sauces and desserts can spike blood sugar levels, even if the portions are small. And you can see how much sugar is in these different beverages here. It's kind of shocking to see that there's over 19 teaspoons in Mountain Dew. Not that I ever drink that, but even some of the sweetened nectars and teas have a lot. So just being aware and reading labels. Butter and cream-based sauces and cheesy casseroles like mac and cheese and fried foods have excess saturated fat. And stuffing, gravy, canned soups, and cured meats often have a high sodium or salt content. So many traditional recipes can be modified and still taste great to lower the amount of sugar, fat, and salt, and can be made in a more healthful way. So modifying your favorite recipes to include more nutritious ingredients helps to make for a more nutritionally balanced product, and that will help to support your blood sugar control and your heart health as well. Adding complex carbohydrates, such as whole grains and fruits and vegetables, can help foods digest more slowly, and this can help to maintain a more stable blood sugar throughout the day. And you also get the benefit of more vitamins and minerals and antioxidants in the meal, which can support heart health. So all very important aspects of getting that complex carbohydrate into your day. And some additional considerations for holiday ingredient exchange to make holiday fare a little bit more healthful are things like the stuffing exchanges. So nobody said you had to use white bread, white crusted bread for stuffing. You can use whole grain bread to make your stuffing and toss in finely chopped mushrooms and celery. Onions and carrots to make it much more veggie based and much more flavorful and colorful. With potatoes, instead of your traditional white mashed, go for the sweet potatoes to get your higher level of antioxidants. And instead of mashing them, roast them with olive oil and use some nice spices to flavor them up, like cumin or thyme and paprika. And then add a little holiday crunch to them using hazelnuts and cranberries to give them that added crunch and festiveness. And then with pumpkin pie, think about ways to lower the sugar a bit, maybe using a sugar substitute instead of sugar for pie filling. And then I always use whipped cream, but using the low-fat or fat-free whipped cream topping for the sweetness on the top. In terms of lowering sugar in recipes, that can help you prevent those blood sugar spikes and reduce cravings and help with appetite control as well. And it also can reduce long-term risks of diabetic complications. So thinking about ways not only for the holidays, but into the future to lower sugar and moderate your recipes are looking at kind of doing some of the following things. So you can reduce the sugar in recipes by almost a quarter to up to a third. That really maintains the sweetness of the product, and most people really don't even notice a difference unless they're sugar connoisseurs. But you can do this to cookies and muffins or pies, and it'll still taste sweet with less sugar added. And then maybe pair them with a little fruit on the side for some added sweetness and color. You could substitute sugar with spices such as cinnamon or nutmeg and vanilla. And these are really good in oatmeal or baked goods or to add to your coffee, which I do every morning. And they really add a nice natural sweetness to without the need for sugar. Try sugar substitutes such as stevia and monk fruit. These substitutes are great in drinks and yogurt or baked goods. And they are much sweeter than sugar. So on the package, it'll tell you how to make that substitute with the same amount of sugar. So make sure to consult that. And then add sweetness with fruit such as applesauce or mashed banana or date paste to replace the sugar. And these swaps are usually done in a one-to-one swap, where you also have to decrease the liquid in the recipe by about a quarter cup. And this is great for breads, pancakes, or desserts like banana bread or brownies. So you can do that to flavor those types of foods. And making small adjustments and reducing fat in recipes can have a heart healthy benefit by lowering your LDL cholesterol over time if you do this consistently. And just some tips on lowering fat in recipes are, think about the cooking method you're using. So bake and grill or roast meats instead of frying them. And because frying meats adds fat and calories, as you might guess. And if you bake or roast or grill, that allows the excess fat found in the meat to drip away while keeping the meat flavorful. And then use some herbs and marinades to keep the meats moist and flavorful without adding breading and frying in oil. You can substitute butter and heavy sauces with broth that's low or no sodium, with a combination of herbs and citrus for flavor. And this can be done with mashed potatoes or casseroles or sautéed vegetables. And the herbs and the citrus juice from lemons or limes can really enhance the flavor, so you don't have to add the fat or the salt. And then choosing lean cuts of meat, such as turkey breast or pork tenderloin. These leaner cuts of meat contain less saturated fat and cholesterol with plenty of protein for blood sugar balance with fewer calories. And they're, I think, they taste great. Make sure to trim your fat from your meat. So remove the skins from poultry or trim the white fat or marbling from red meats. You can do this before or after cooking, and that can reduce the total fat content of the food. And this adjustment won't affect the flavor if the meat is properly seasoned. And then replace fat while baking with applesauce or mashed banana or pumpkin puree for the holiday to reduce the fat and keep baked goods moist and flavorful. And usually you can do this with a one-to-one ratio when making the swaps out. So for example, 1/2 a cup of oil with a 1/2 a cup of applesauce would be the swap. All right, a little bit about the types of fat that are maybe better for us versus worse. So start with the worse first and go to the better. Saturated fats, when they're consumed in excess, are considered unhealthy because they do raise LDL cholesterol. And through this mechanism, excess intake of these fats chronically can increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Saturated fats can also promote inflammation, particularly when they're consumed with refined carbohydrate. And inflammation can enhance plaque buildup. So that's why that's not good. And then saturated fat can also make blood vessels less pliable and can indirectly increase blood pressure. So this trifold effect can contributes to increased risk for cardiovascular disease. So balance is key when it comes to consuming saturated fat. These fats, when consumed in moderation, can still be part of a heart-healthy diet, but it's advisable to opt for more unsaturated fats whenever possible. And if you're, looking for where are saturated fats coming from in my diet, well, they're found in foods like processed snacks or processed foods, baked goods, and fried foods. And these fats are usually solid at room temperature. And some helpful tips to consume more unsaturated fats than saturated include swapping out butter for oil when cooking, consuming less processed foods, choosing grilled or baked meats with leaner cuts instead of fried, and opting for low-fat dairy. So dairy has a lot of high level of saturated fat. And then unhealthier fats are considered to, healthy fats are unsaturated. So unsaturated fats are considered to be the healthier fats, and in general, they tend to lower LDL cholesterol and triglycerides, and thereby they lower risk for cardiovascular disease. And some types of unsaturated fats have anti-inflammatory properties that can make them heart healthy as well. Unsaturated fats are in general important for a healthy immune system and nervous system as well, and they're good for brain and eye health as well. And importantly, unsaturated fats are a source of essential fatty acids that we cannot make ourselves and must get from foods. Looking for where to get these in the diet, they're found in foods containing or uh, like fatty fish, like salmon or tuna or sardines. That would be a source of unsaturated fatty acids. Avocados, olive oil, nuts and seeds, and oils made therefrom. And you'll be able to tell an unsaturated fat if it's liquid at room temperature, which is most oils. And the American Heart Association recommends including these fats in meals and snacks in exchange for saturated fat. And many people who have diabetes also have high blood pressure, and limiting salt intake can help manage that. So tips to lower your salt intake include comparing labels when you're out there in the grocery store and looking for lower sodium ingredients for use in cooking. When you're looking at labels, beware of products that are identified as unsalted or no salt added or reduced salt or lower sodium, because these items may have reduced the amount of sodium content, but they still could be high in sodium. When you're looking for flavor, put the salt shaker on the counter and use seasonings instead, using like lemon juice or olive oil, basil, curry, dill. There's so many great spices out there to flavor: garlic, onion, onion powder, oregano, paprika, rosemary. And we can send you some handouts on how to flavor different types of foods if you're interested with these different spices, because it can be an art in itself. Also, start cooking with a flavorful base such as with garlic or onions or shallots, so that that enhances the flavor of the dish, and you don't really need to add any salt to it. And then we've probably heard a lot about highly processed or ultra-processed foods, and these are commonly high in sodium, saturated fat, and refined sugars. And ultra-processed foods are considered to be foods that are made with industrial formulations with extensive processing and manufactured ingredients. Usually these are identified, if you look on the label and you look in the ingredient list, they have more than 5 ingredients that are not natural to the food, and usually you can't recognize or pronounce what they are. And these are typically additives that include flavors or colors or emulsifiers or stabilizers to make sure that food stays on the shelf longer. And they also include oils and fats, starches, and sugars. And usually these foods have a high amount of refined carbohydrates, and they're low in protein and fiber. And so when you consume them, they have, smaller portions, higher calories, and they don't satiate you. So you're always wanting more, and that leads to overconsumption. And that is the connection, and it's thought to be why they're associated with excess weight, overweight and obesity, and chronic disease risk factors. And they're also low in nutrients compared to less processed or unprocessed forms. So reading labels on food products really helps to identify whether a food product is ultra processed by looking at that ingredient list, and looking to see whether the ingredient list has 5 or more ingredients, and again with these things that you can't pronounce added to them. That's usually a telltale sign. In terms of looking for healthier fare, looking at the percent daily value can be a quick way to identify foods that are low in saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars. So if the food has less than 5% of the daily value, it's considered to be low in a nutrient. And you want the low nutrient levels for saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars. And for fiber and micronutrients, good sources would be have 20% or more of the daily value. So that's the rule of thumb. So over 20%, good source of that of fiber or the micronutrient. And finally, family pressures to overindulge. So it's really common to feel pressure around food during the holidays from family, friends, and just from the abundance of food at every holiday event. And this pressure can make it difficult to say no to foods that have a lot of sugar, fat, and salt, and to really control your portion sizes. So to combat these challenges, do your best to focus on balanced meals instead of quantity. Think my plate now. I have it in the visual in your head, and when you're in line to get your plate, always take the veggies first and look for those without sauces added, and fill up your half your plate. Next, look for lean protein sources and making sure that you remove the skin if you're having turkey, and taking the white meat only. And last but not least, add the grains, taking a smaller portion, since these choices are usually higher in fat and sodium, unless you brought a healthier version to share. Eat slowly and mindfully, and really notice your body's fullness cues and stop when you're full. And also make sure to stay on your normal eating routine as much as you can, so you're not excessively hungry at dinner time. So family gatherings can create a lot of fun, but a lot of pressure around both food and alcohol consumption. And you may be encouraged to eat or drink more than you usually would. And with family and friends, just make sure to let them know you're trying to keep your blood sugar in check, and that you have planned for only 1 to 2 drinks as part of your plan for the day. And that way the pressure can be reduced. Consider bringing a mocktail or seltzer or water to hold during the event, because that gives your hand something to do and lets people know that you have something to drink, that you don't need more. And then making sure you stay hydrated, and that helps to curb your appetite as well. And then during holiday gatherings where there is family pressure to overeat or drink, change the focus away from food and alcohol toward another fun and engaging activity for the whole family. So you can start a new tradition of perhaps playing board games together after dinner, or decorating a gingerbread house with the kids. That's something that I've done over the years. That's really fun. Or taking a walk together after the meal to regulate your blood sugar. And everybody, when it comes to the holidays, always thinks you have to do it all yourself. No, you don't. Teamwork is the dream work. So reduce the pressure of meal preparation by, getting everybody involved. Dole out the tasks, because I think people enjoy helping. And, assign family and friends a dish to bring, with an added request of trying to make the dish festive and a healthy option, if possible. Have guests bring a recipe card to share with others. And for those that don't cook, make sure you assign them a role in setting the table, or clearing the table, or doing the dishes after the meal. And then keep the spirit of the event festive with maybe prizes for the most healthy, creative entree, side dish, or dessert. So, in summary, enjoy the holidays and celebrate, but follow the tips shown on this slide, or discussed in the presentation. I think can help you stay on track and meet your health goals throughout the holiday season and into the new year. And now I'm going to open it up for questions. I thought it would be fun if you have any, you want to share any of your favorite holiday recipes that are healthful, or maybe you have some healthy travel tips for others, or maybe you have some strategies for managing your family pressures around eating. Anything you can contribute would be fun for everyone, and I think very helpful. So please feel free to contribute, and I will be happy to address any questions. I just wanted to acknowledge too, I have wonderful graduate students here that support me and do wonderful work. I wanted to acknowledge two students for helping to put this presentation together tonight in our nutrition program, Chelsea Potter and Jessica Montgomery. So thanks to them, and thanks to you all for joining tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Couch. So we'll open up the conversation for a few questions or any of those recipes. I see Dawn asked, reducing sugar in baked goods will not affect how it bakes. Do you need more leavening agent?
Uh, I'm having trouble like getting into the, let me see. Okay. I see now. Okay. Um, More leavening agent. That's a good question. I think the reducing the sugar. I don't think you should. It should moderate the amount of leavening agent that you would need for the baked product. But that's a good question. I'm not sure about that. I usually reduce the sugar with no other changes, and it turns out just fine. So yeah, if I guess give it a try, see if you can do it without it. But I've never modified anything else besides the sugar in the recipe.
Great, thank you. And Maria asked if we will be able to share the handout on spices and the slides. Maria, we will have
Absolutely.
a recording of the presentation that'll be shared afterward. And then Dr. Couch, as far as the handout,
Yeah, I can send it to you, and you can share it with the group.
amazing. Thank you. Um, Dr. Bowerman says, oh, thank you. This is helpful. When traveling, she tries to pack things or stop at grocery stores to get fruit. Allison says, eat a small meal before you go, especially if you're concerned about what will be served. Jeanette and Pat both thank you and say your presentation was informative. And Janani says, I've had this confusion for long. In some practices, it's said to have soaked nuts and dates with water as a morning ritual, then do some exercise and have breakfast after 3 hours of waking up. But I also see to have food within 1 hour, which is best.
Okay, so let me. So with the I'm just need a little bit of clarity here. So it looks like soaking nuts and dates with water, and then so consuming those and then doing exercise and having breakfast after 3 hours of wake up helps with, is it helping with blood sugar management? I would think the protein and the nuts would, yeah, I guess I would need a little bit more information to know how to best answer that question.
Okay.
Okay, so let's
Um,
see. Just the nuts are soaked, not the dates. Yeah, I'm not sure how to. Not sure how to best answer that question. I'm not sure what the what she's asking in terms of what benefit or in terms of blood sugar management. Probably need some clarity there.
okay. Janani, you could feel free to try to clarify in the chat, or you can send an email to our general OSHER email, and we'll connect you with Dr. Couch afterward, so
Yeah.
we can continue answering a few more of these questions. So Kimberly can't eat stevia. So other than that, what would be your favorite sugar substitute for baking?
Yeah, I have used the monk sugar substitute and it works quite well. Uh, And I guess my best tip is I try to just reduce the total amount of sugar instead of using a substitute as well. So try that one. It's very sweet, so it really doesn't take much to flavor the product. So you have to use very little. Um, so consult the package instructions. But again, if you're just trying to lower the amount of sugar in the baked goods, just try to lower it by a quarter or a third and see if you can, it comes out the same.
Great, thank you. And then Emra asks, what is your opinion about bread consumption?
About bread consumption.
Mhm.
Um, I uh, um, I think carbs are great as long, going to the more complex sources. So whole grain breads. That would give you the fiber that would help to slow down the absorption of the carbohydrate in the product. So that would be the best type of bread to consume. Um, but there's many different types of whole grains out there, whole grain bread. So choose one that you like to eat and go with that. But I think they're good for you. But again, more complex. Stay away from the highly refined ones.
Great. And I see that Allison has her hand raised, so I'm going to go ahead and allow her to ask her question.
Actually, hello, it was
Hi.
answered. So thank you very much. It was also about, sugars. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, sure thing.
Great. Next, we had a few thank yous for your presentation, how helpful it is. Pamela has a tip, taking a healthy side dish for family gatherings and then homemade trail mix for on-the-road travel helps.
Great
Um,
suggestions.
Jennifer says, thank you. This information is very helpful. She always tries to drink lots of water before and during holiday gatherings.
Excellent. Yes. Yeah. Drinking water really helps to fill you up. And, if you do have a little bit of fiber from fruits, vegetables, or the whole grains, that in itself can bulk up your gut and help to satiate you and help to have you go longer between meals. So that's a good thing. I do think, kind of going for that 3 to 4 hours of having something in your stomach is really helpful to kind of keep your blood sugar regulated throughout the day. And that helps to control appetite as well.
Great. And then Wendy asks, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting to reduce blood sugar?
Intermittent fasting, I mean, depending on how long you go without eating, I think that the it I think the evidence right now is suggesting that you eat more in a more structured manner. So eating, that 3 to 4 hours over the course of the day really helps to control blood sugar spikes and highs and lows and keeps you more in the kind of within the normal range. And they're finding a lot more evidence to support the fact that if you have too many highs and too many lows, this can lead to complications down the road for individuals with diabetes or pre-diabetes. So it's best to have that more control. And to my knowledge, intermittent fasting does not have that same beneficial impact.
Great, thank you. And I'm not seeing any additional questions, so I'll wait. Oh, it looks like Dawn says, I love that you identified the 5 struggles. It'll help me recognize them during this season. I'm really going to focus on the small movements throughout the day to increase physical activity. It's the first item that falls off my to-do list over the holidays.
Easy to do. So that's great. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Couch. I will go ahead and share my screen quickly to talk a little bit for just a moment about what's coming from the Osher Center in the spring. So we're excited to announce the opening of our John and Carrie Hayden Community Learning Kitchen, opening in spring of 2026. We'll have evidence-based classes like cooking for diabetes and blood sugar balance, the Stressless Kitchen, and more. It'll be one of several new spaces in the Osher Wellness Suite. And that's what you'll be looking at here. So we'll have the John and Carrie Hayden Community Learning Kitchen, a Mind, Body, Spirit Wellness Studio, a rooftop healing garden, and we will have community classes in all of these spaces, as well as opportunities to rent out the spaces and have collaborative opportunities up there as well. So feel free to scan the QR code to learn more, and we hope that you'll stay engaged with us at the Osher Center by signing up for our e-newsletter and joining our upcoming events. If you have any questions for us or want to learn more about the Osher Center for Integrative Health, please email us at osher.integrative@uc.edu or visit our website at med.uc.edu/integrative. Thank you again for joining. Stay well and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Happy holidays.
And it does look like one additional question came in from Melody, asking, could you talk a bit more about substitute sweeteners, particularly artificial?
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I will give a handout about making what would be the best substitutes for baking, and I will bring my food science faculty into the mix. She probably has a better handle on the best ones to use for baking substitutions. I just know what I've done and had success doing that. So if anybody wants more specifics on that, I can give you a more detailed handout that has a list of ones that would be probably best to use for maybe food preparation. But monk fruit and the stevia are the ones that I typically use.
Great, thank you. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining. I'll go ahead and end the webinar now. Hope to see you at another event soon. Thank you.